Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It's me, Digi. Welcome back to another episode of Digi After Dark as we decide to fly the Phenom to points south. If you were with me earlier this week, I had some time off and decided to go flying on not VATSIM, but we were in FS 2020 because we wanted to use the Phenom 100 to go from Seattle to Jackson Hole by way of Kalispell. So today we're going to do a one-shot and we're going to fly out from Jackson Hole and we're going to go to Cedar City, which is in Utah. I thought it was actually a lot further down, but it's actually not that far away. I think direct flight time is an hour 18, so I'm expecting probably about an hour and a half for the flight today, and probably another half an hour for block time. We are on the ground at Jackson Hole International Airport, and I bumped for an early morning departure. This again is freeware available through flightsim.to. If you have never been here and you do not have payware scenery, I think there's actually payware scenery out there. If you haven't gone here, you might want to grab the freeware scenery available through flightsim.to just to get an idea of what this place looks like, which honestly is really not bad. Um, you've got your basic terminal, you've got your, waiting area to depart. This is where you'd see the individual aircraft ready to go, and then you'd go board. So this is where you'd have all the airliners at the ramp, and you'd be set to fly out of here. The wonderful thing about this place is that it's actually on a national park. Crafted, I am not on VATSIM this fine evening, but just for you, I'm going to go ahead and check and see what the dealio is with coverage. Do we have anybody on in our sector? I wasn't planning on going on VATSIM tonight, but let me check. Looks like that crashed. Actually, I haven't even filed a flight plan. Even if there's no one, I just want to fly along. Well, okay. Here's the deal. I am going to be departing from Jackson Hole, and believe it or not, on VATSIM, there's somebody flying an A319 that's going to be going to Salt Lake. So let me see where CDC actually is. CDC is actually in Salt Lake Center, and it's right on the border of LA Center and not that far away from Denver Center. So interestingly enough, the good news is that we're not going to be on a controlled frequency. So I could theoretically spend a few extra minutes right now on the ground, get my flight plan filed, and fly on VATSIM for fun, for kicks. How hard would that be? Actually, not that hard, because if I wanted to, I could go on SimBrief, file my flight plan, pre-file on VATSIM, and then it would be cool. All right, so give me a moment. I'm just I'm pulling up some info now. And I am looking for some credentials. Marriage. Let's see. Okay, so I have my VATSIM credentials and I have my SimBrief page loaded. I'm sending in the SimBrief now. And just take me a few minutes to get a flight plan filed. The beauty of it is I'm not going to be spending a lot of time messing with settings for aircraft. And basically, I'm going to be departing Kilo Juliet Alpha Charlie, arriving Kilo Charlie Delta Charlie, and I'm going to be taking the Phenom 100. Echo 50 Papa is the code. And where are you? No, not the Eclipse, the Phenom. Okay. And using pounds, an hour and 55 minutes for the block time, which sounds about right. And actually, believe it or not, this is a really, and I mean really simple flight plan. Taking the Alpine 5 departure to Kickney, which means we're taking off to the south. And then I'm going direct Climo. I'm going to be overflying Salt Lake at cruise, I'm sure. And then Climo's going to take me into Cedar City. And I have a freeware scenery for it, again, through flightsim.to. So I don't think there's much else for me to do. I'm going to make sure my call sign is set. November 6532 Zulu, and set that for the registration again. And that's about it. I should be able to generate the flight and get this set. I appreciate you joining me, Crafter. I really appreciate having you along. So we have the flight. I'm going to import this into charts. I'm going to open my Navigraph Charts app, and then while that's loading, I'm going to go ahead and pre-file on VATSIM. And I am in the GA area, which means it's going to be a little bit of a taxi to get to where I need to go. That's fine. And let's pop in our credentials for VATSIM and pre-file. And off-block time is probably going to be in the next, like, maybe, 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and say TCAS sim brief, Coxper Phenom 100, flightsim.to, KJAC and KCDC sceneries, twitch.tv/DIGI driver. Okay, so we're going to file. Flight plan is filed. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up vPilot. Then I'm going to go and make sure that the flight plan is received, or excuse me, make sure my settings let me actually do the thing, that pilot thing, that thing. So 5 approaches into Cedar City. If we're going to be landing on runway 20, realistically, there's probably only one approach I'm going to be looking for. I can take the ILS. Coming in straight from Climo, there's an ILS approach, and literally it just connects to that waypoint. That's fantastic. So basically, if you're curious, this is what I'm doing. And that's just ripped straight from the Navigraph Charts app. So now I'm going to double check my settings in here and find microphone device and also find the output device. And then we're going to change the push to talk button. Oh, it is there. And let's connect. I'm going to be November 6532 Zulu, and it's going to be E50 Papa for the Embraer 500 Phenom 100. And I'm connecting. Mo Charlie. And let's see. Oof, man. Jump scare with the auto ATC beep beep beep. Let me look up CTAF for KJAC. And looks like Denver Center is online, so believe it or not, we're actually going to get coverage. Oh, no, we're not in Denver Center, Digi. We're in Salt Lake. Alright. Okay, so transmission seems to work. Well, what do we have here? We have a recovering study level pilot flying a Phenom 100 late at night on VATSIM. I know. So I'm going to set up the CTAF frequency right now, and auto ATC said squawk 5254 for my IFR flight from KJAC to KCDC. That's KJAC, not KJAC. If anybody gets the reference, bonus points to you. So, 5254. Confirm 5254. Got it. So, code is going to be 5254. And we're already altitude reporting. Weird looking RJ. Yep. Wait a minute. Is there somebody around here? Because I distinctly heard some whooshing sounds. Let's zoom in, shall we? Oh no, wait, my what is it? TCAS isn't working yet because I'm on the ground and I haven't started up yet. But whatever. I have my code in. Let's go ahead and get the flight plan started. So, origin, Kilo Juliet Alpha Charlie. Alright, let's pick runway 19er. And destination is going to be Cedar City. Kilo, Charlie, Delta, Charlie. Cedar City, Utah. Where is this Utah? Further south. So, en route, we're going to have literally just one waypoint. And we're going to pick the departure out of Jackson Hole first. Alpine 5 to Kickney. And we're going to load it. Then we're going to go to, I believe I said Climo, yes. Climo. And that's the en route. Then we're going to do procedure. The Garmin sheet that lets you use your actual IRL keyboard, I didn't know. But fortunately, even just using the mouse and stuff is not as bad as it used to be. So, take ILS, we're going to go straight in from the initial approach fix at Climo. And flight course reversal, no. We're going straight in. And minimums, let me take a look at the weather real fast for Cedar City, and then we'll make our decision real quick. Weather, sky's clear. Yeah, we're going to take the radio altimeter and we're going to use 200 unless for some strange reason the ILS approach requires a higher number for radio altimeter. It requires 220, so we're going to choose that. So when you open the sub menu where you're typing the ident, you'll see the little keyboard symbol to the right of the field where you're typing whatever. Click that for it so it's blue than to use a physical keyboard. That's interesting. So like on this menu, to the right of KCDC up top. Click that so it's blue. Look left. Ta-da! Interesting. We have company. Let's see. I think I have to go in to... Wait. Nope, not yet. Not yet. There we go. And now I can type it. Look at that. That's dope. Yeah, apparently it does. And that's pretty cool. Course reversal, no. And primary frequency 110.10, and we will load it. We will not activate it. There we go. Not approved for GPS. Load approach, yes. So, okay, great. So we have the flight plan. We have a departure out of Jackson Hole, taking runway 19er, climbing to Kickney. Then flying en route, we're going to be going to, excuse me, Climo. Invalid flight plan modification. Of course it is, because guess what? Climo's a part of the approach fix. That's fine. Kick knee to Climo, and then we go straight to CDC. So there is a substantial amount of distance between our departure and where we go, and that's fine. Flight plan's in place. Let's go ahead and let's make sure everything's set. I think everything is set because we had the departure, we have en route, which is now part of the approach, and the approach for 20. And one thing I need to make sure I have is my ILS frequency, which is going to be 110.1 at 200, which we can check now. And 110.1, and the localizer core setting is going to be 200. Crafted, congratulations. That's so cool. Let me know what team you're on so I can make sure that I tune in when you're doing World Flight. Go to course 2 and set course 2 to 200 as well. Oh, okay, I see. Still though, still be considered. Okay, course settings set for both nav, and that's it. Now I'm set. Minimums, and let's go ahead and hit the button to calibrate. The altimeter on the ground at Jackson Hole is going to be 3030, which is what we're tuned to. So that's great. And let's see. I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to set minimums. Radio altimeter to 220 feet. And that's it. And when we depart, if we do the Alpine 5, then the Alpine 5 has me going at least to 15,000 feet by Kickney, and that's not going to be an issue because I think we're already at like 7,000 feet. But I want to set my cruise altitude for today's flight, and cruise altitude for today is 40,000 feet. That's so cool. And that's ambitious considering it's like barely an hour and a half of the flight time. But fine. Be that as it may. Let's get the altitude set. Team Covey, okay. No, we're not going up to flight level 500. Slow your roll, DIGI. Okay, 40,000 feet set, and the departure heading for runway 19er is going to be what? It's going to be 187. Okay. Better Phenom 300 IRL, give a PIREP of flight level 430 near Toronto for moderate turbulence. My students pulled it up during the weather briefing. Had to ask them. They're at flight level 430. Is that PIREP relevant to us in a 172? You have to ask yourself, if you're at flight level 430 in a 172, should you declare an emergency? Let's see. I'd be tempted to. So that's it. Good enough for us, and I think that's all I need. I'm going to turn off my upwash and then get ready to go. So we've got the flight plan in place, we've got the systems in place, and let's see. Zoom out to max. I guess I'm not going to have traffic. If the pi rep is obviously not applicable to us, don't waste the energy decoding it. Sounds like something I do. Wait a minute. 430. What are the winds? It's like, knucklehead, you're not gonna get there. All right. So, real quick systems check and then we'll get out of here. Annunciator lights enunciating.
Fire. Fire. Stall. Stall.
Okay, I think we're good. So, let's double check real fast. We have supply control packs auto. I will repressurize the cabin. Bus ties auto. Fuel pumps auto. Pack signs on. ELT armed. Hydro pumps and ADS OAs auto. Heating, window heats on. We have bleeds to both mode auto for pressurization. Ignition mode to auto. Throttle. Cruising altitude 4,500. Yeah. Okay, confirmed auto. We have the parking brake on, so we can remove chocks. And I should be able to get out of town now. So, here we go. Chocks removed. We can take the GPU off and send it packing. Bye-bye GPU. And no fuel transfer and no stall warning inhibitor. And what's left? I don't think anything is left. We just have to announce our intentions to get out of here. So, welcome aboard, everybody. And if you're new, we are about to depart Jackson Hole in the Phenom. I have some company following me, so I better hoof it down to Cedar City, and we will not disappoint, believe me. This little thing can climb, as you'll soon see. So, are we on CTAF right now? We sure bur. We sure bur. Oh, ram air turbine. Okay, okay. Or as I like to call it, a little, turbo beanie propeller, which, when I used to fly the Flight Factor 757, happened quite often. Hi, my name is Digi Driver, and I'm a recovering study level pilot. Hi, Digi. It's been over 2.5 years since I last flew. No, over like a year and a half since I flew the Flight Factor 757. I might do it sometime soon, but hopefully not. All right, so I should be on CTAF. So here we go. Let me just take a look at the ye old mappy map. Okay. Jackson Hole traffic, good evening. Phenom 32 Zulu, Phenom November 65320 Zulu is type Phenom 100. We are getting ready to depart by runway 19er, taxiing Delta Alpha. That's a lot to say. Okay, so, also, does this thing have volume control? Yes, it does. Okay. Yeah, so comms over here. So we'll figure it out as we go. Okay. So basically, clear right and left, no equipment. It's just us. Let's go ahead and get going. We do not have the GPU hooked up, and we're still 24.9 volts, so I think that's good enough to get the engine started. Let's start up engine number 2. And of course, folks, if the volume's too loud or too quiet, let me know, please. ATC could get ridiculously loud, so I'll try to be on top of that ASAP. Alright, give me engine number 1. And just to make sure we're topped off for fuel, I'm going to check the flight plan and see what the intended fuel use is supposed to be. We need 1,947 pounds of block fuel, so we're going to make sure we have that. Okay, there we go. Load aircraft instantly. And what do we have for cargo? Cargo is going to be 165 pounds, total payload 690 pounds. So let's see. Baggage and payload. So baggage is 165 pounds. Give or take. So let's see, that's another like 500 pounds of passengers. So there we go. Alright, we're loaded. Load aircraft. We're going to use the runway up. Lyles, good evening. Welcome. Now we're set. Confirm. Let's go ahead and get ourselves prepped to get out of here. Flaps 1 departure should probably be fine. And we'll do a quick flight controls check. There we go. Full left, full right, full forward, and full back. Full left and full right rudder is available. Okay. Taxi lights on. Strobe light can stay off for now. Okay, and that's it. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake and get on out of here. Alright folks, we're taxiing. We are in the GA area. We're going to depart via Delta. And as we do, I hope you enjoy the beautiful majesty of the Tetons in front of you. Right. See you up there in a bit, Crafton.
Jackson Hole, Frontier Flight 527 following the traffic runway 20.
Okay, and I do have ATC. ATC audio, I mean. Alright, we're approaching the runway. I'm going to make it easier on myself, get the landing lights on now and strobe lights on now because I'm super lazy. And we got a good brisk 33 knot taxi roll, which will probably start slowing down a teensy bit before we get to the end of the taxiway. I'm just going straight up final climb since there's no ATC here. I'll be at flight level 400 for the flight. Okay, we'll hold short, make sure we have ATC and traffic visualization, and then we will get going. So, here we go. Let me slow down. Let's see. Parking brake for now? Yeah, parking brake set. Alright, so, good stuff. Give me a bit. So we have live traffic and ATC options available. does look like my friend is now preparing to depart with us. So, should see them coming up shortly. In fact, let's see. Yep, downrange. Okay, real quick check. Nope, pretty much absolutely nobody on frequency whatsoever. In terms of approaching or departing. Jackson Hole traffic, Phenom 32 Zulu, lining up and departing runway 19er, Alpine 5 departure.
Jackson Tower, FlexJet 234, 12 miles south, inbound RNAV Zulu.
And we have AI traffic, which means I need to turn off my online options. Okay, turn that off. And I'll leave the multiplayer servers on and just make sure that I pay attention. Okay, parking brake release. And here we go.
Jackson Hole Perfect, Frontier Flight 527, lining up for Port and Store runway 19.
Okay, we're on the clock. Alright, we're just going for it. Stable and full power. Max throttle. Airspeed's definitely alive. And let's start a slow rotation. Positive rate.
Jackson Hole traffic, Frontier Flight 527, line up runway 19.
Jackson Hole traffic, Phenom 32 Zulu 7100 for final cruise, final 400 on the Alpine 5. Let's go. See. Okay, over 1,000 feet. Give me autopilot, nav, and flight level change for 170. That should give me best climb. Nice, good job, Crafton. Now I want to shoot for probably somewhere between 3,500 to 4,000 feet per minute on the climb. I don't know if it's going to happen, but at least 3,000 for the first like
Jackson Hole
10,000
traffic,
feet.
Frontier Flight 527, taking off runway 19 to be the Alpine 5 departure, from level 320.
And now I'm going to switch over to advisory. As we cross 10,000 feet, now. So we are now on advisory. What we used to commonly refer to as Unicom, which is now referred to differently as advisory on VATSIM because rules. Okay. Yep, no immediate traffic in the area, and we are doing good. Past 10,000 feet, and we have now reached, lights out altitude. I'm going to look outside real quick. It's going to get really loud. That was virtually unbelievable. Amazing. Okay, so basically flight of 2 almost to Cedar City. Now, here's where it might get tricky, because we're going to be overflying Salt Lake, and Salt Lake has approach, but we're not going to be landing in Salt Lake. I think there's a 50-50 chance that we might still talk to Salt Lake approach because of the fact that we're going to be overflying their airport and most likely descending down to Cedar City at some point in their airspace. I don't think we're going to be talking to Salt Lake approach, but I'm not putting it out of mind. With that said, there we go. Now, could I, in theory, decrease my rate of climb at this point? I guess it depends. Let me take a look at the range. Top of climb. Do I see top of climb anywhere? I see top of descent, but not top of climb. Oh, look at that. We do actually have, whatchamacallit, tracking. Grafton might beat me into, to Cedar City. Just happen to be in the air. Dude, it's a privilege having you aboard. Dude, that's not a problem at all. It would kind of be hilarious to see you either fly under or fly past me on the way to Cedar City, but that's fine. I'm giving this thing the business. Max throttle as we climb at 170, which is supposed to be the optimal climbing speed for this bird, which is supposed to get us to like cruise within like 25 to 30 minutes, which is good. Because I figure at this rate we'll be probably about 20 nautical miles from Cape when we get to cruise, and we are now default pressure. Max altitude is flight level 410, which, considering this plane is so small and so light, it's beautiful. It's a thing of beauty. I'm happy, and we are breaking through. No, I think upstairs is fine. We'll probably be somewhere around a 35 to 40 minute cruise, tops, before we have to descend. That is absolutely sick for a service ceiling. That's impressive. Flight level 201 now, as we climb to flight level 400 for today's flight. And we are on VATSIM. I am November 6532 Zulu, and my friend Grafton is Frontier Flight 527 if you want to track us on Simaware or your simulated ATC tracking software of choice. And I think you are now officially in front of me. Good evening, I am the J. Welcome. We are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We're on our way out of Jackson, Wyoming, headed to Cedar City, Utah. Welcome aboard. Thanks for the first time chat. Okay, so Crafton is definitely in front of me at this point. What I can't figure is where Crafton is. I believe Crafton is still below me. Oh, is here. A319? Oh, for sure. It's the sports coupe of the family. That's some PJ Ops. There we go. considering this thing is classified a very light jet, I'll take a 2,100 foot per minute climb at flight level 235. I'm happy with that. Can I boost my mic? Give me a moment. Okay, this might work. I just readjusted my position. I'm basically maxed out for volume on my mic, but I'm also gating noise control through NVIDIA Broadcast. What I'm going to do is decrease my sim volume a little bit just to make sure there's a discrepancy between the sim and my microphone. The citation's getting a V2. That's good. That's good. That's great. Okay, yeah, no question. Grafton's going to be in front. You're about 3,000 feet below me, but you're going way faster, so that's fine. Last time I did long business jet flights, we were knee-deep in Rona, and I was doing like New Year's Eve flights crossing the pond. I remember I did like a Gulfstream flight from JFK to Dublin the one year. Man, those were interesting times. Yeah, I like the longitude as well, although I haven't flown the longitude nearly as much as I used to. The Gulfstream I flew in X-plane. There was a freeware developer that developed a Gulfstream 4 SP, which I downloaded many years ago, and I think I still have the installer for. I think it's also still available through xplane.org, but basically it's an X-plane jet. I don't think anyone's actually made a Gulfstream unless it's on the marketplace, but I'm pretty sure no one's going to try selling it because I think they have that tech kind of tight-lipped, so it would just be strictly you know, like passion project stuff. Ooh, Phoenix, rock on. So this bird is zippy, but this bird is not fast, as you can tell. Meanwhile, let's take a look in the cabin. We've got our usual cast of characters with us, flying out to Cedar City today, and the view out the window is actually quite nice. Mostly cloudy, though. Want to know a secret? I guess it depends if you want to share. You don't have to if you don't want to. But if you're spilling the tea, I'm curious. For the CG Simulations G75000, they're working on one. 7500, and any builds as a sneak peek of a Gulfstream. Okay, well there we go. That answers my question about Gulfstream development. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so things could be heating up for business jets. That's fine. I apologize. So, I am the J said something, and I thought that was Crafton, but that wasn't Crafton. Crafton, the secret is that you're starting on your S1 rating. Congratulations. That is dope. Your secret is safe with me, Crafton. I mean, you know, like, there are passion projects that are fantastic, and there are passion projects that are labors of love, and there's stuff missing, but the experience is still enjoyable in my book, in at least a few respects. So, I respect your opinion on that. Like, sometimes the pay-wear gap is huge, and sometimes people make freeware aircraft that make you kind of go, wait, what? So, okay, I think we're good for volume right now. Well, I know Canuck was doing a lot of Australian flights at one point, so that's a thing. Hey, welcome in, Eric Flight. Good to see you. Hopefully you and family are well. We are in FS 2024, and I'm on VATSIM. Quiet sector. We're in Salt Lake Center, but I'm flying with my friend who is now at least 25 nautical miles ahead of me, or working on that. We're flying to Cedar City. We took off from Jackson Hole about 15 minutes ago. Well, I mean, I hope you get your performance tweaking taken care of. And it sounds like you are on your way, so hey, GG's to you, my friend. We are in mostly cloudy skies, climbing to flight level 400. We're about 5,000 feet from that. Phenomenal. It's tedious. Yeah. I mean, you and I both grew up in the days of flight sim tweaking for one, so we know what tedious is. Okay, we'll do. We'll do. Thanks for the reminder. Now let's see. Where are we? Um, Believe it or not, we're approaching Salt Lake approach. So we're not that far away from Salt Lake City. Which begs the question, am I going to get to the top of climb before I have to descend? I should. Yeah, we'll be fine. Eric, that's definitely one of those one of those things that I don't want to think about too much. But fortunately, um, even the increasingly older tech that I have is holding its own. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I have what I have. Um, it could be a lot worse. I could be still in my first sim rig and be using a 2060 Super instead of a 3060 Ti. But even that wasn't absolutely abysmal. The frame rates were lower, but that's just the thing. More VRAM power would help. VRAM would definitely help me. 3060 Ti that I have has 8 gigs, so that's right. You said you had a triple setup. All right, folks, give me a moment. I am going to go ahead and use my legs for a few moments to get some things out of the way. I'll be back in the flight deck in just a little bit. Stand by. Hello everybody, I am back. Thanks for waiting for me. Thanks for coming in and sticking around if you joined during my unannounced or visibly unannounced break, but we're back. Crafted had a question, is my Villeneuve 2024 compatible? Technically, yes. The problem is that the Villeneuve scenery in 2024 is now in a photogrammetry zone. So if your photogrammetry is on, the airport scenery is probably going to render fine. But because it's like based on default assets and whatnot, there's a chance that some of the photogrammetry that's there is going to, I'm not sure, like really sit in on it. So I'm not sure. And I had meant to get to it and create a new scenery for it. That's right, I'm sorry. I forgot that sometimes the audio can make you jumpy. I'm sorry about that. But, yeah, again, the scenery itself should be fine. I just think the particular compatibility is potentially going to affect how everything looks. I don't know exactly though, because I haven't tried using it. Into SATA shopping? Ow. If they're as expensive as I think they are, then ow. Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. How often is it that, I mean, especially people coming into the game now wanting to replace aging PCs. And I mean, I got my hardware in 2021, and topped off like with 64 gigs of RAM, which in hindsight was probably a very good move in terms of at least stabilizing it, because I've got 64 gigs of RAM and a Ryzen 9. I'm pretty sure I'm GPU limited, so it is what it is. Yeah. Okay. I was really scrunched for space on my root drive on the NVMe. So what eventually had to go was B3D, and I'm debating putting it on my like other terabyte plate drive, but we'll see. We're cruise at flight level 400. Let me take a look at the charts for our arrival into Cedar City. Final approach fix is going to be 7,800 feet, so I'm going to set that up now. $7,800 feet set. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the fastest speed that a plate drive I saw, like, that I was interested in was like 7,800 RPM. Theoretically, it's possible to spin them faster, but I mean, we're dealing with fundamental differences in write speed, read speed, access speed, so I get that. 5,200 RPM, yup. Which is probably not bad when we're talking about things like, simply loading, satellite imagery. But yeah, I understand. I get it. To drink a seltzer water or not to drink a seltzer water? I think we're going to drink a seltzer water now. temperature, take a nap, come back and it's loaded. Yeah, I hear that. Ground speed is 283 knots, and we have a 73 knot headwind. We're slow. And we also have synthetic vision, which is fun. Pretty sure we're coming up on Salt Lake right there. About to hit a half an hour flight time, and we've got like another hour-ish to go. Anybody else? Yeah, we've got some traffic at Salt Lake. Don't feel bad at all, Crafton. You're flying an A319. You've got the engines to climb and to cruise. Salt Lake has a hold advisor to copy. Oh, man. That'd be something. So, chat, let's recap. Today was a quick work day. I wrapped up. I had some free time. Mrs. Digi said, hey, I'd like to rearrange the bedroom. So, pretty much bang on the dot, when I wrapped up work, I started going. One more follower to 760. There we go. Let's go. So I started basically breaking down the setup in the bedroom. And I moved a really big dresser, the bed, the headboard, and my computer desk. Because my bedroom is kind of like my cocoon. And I'll be streaming, and Mrs. Digi will be chilling out, watching something or hanging out, and we'll just you know, this is where we hang out. It's like if we're here together, like, she's cool with me like flying and doing simming. In fact, Jay, Mrs. Digi is the reason I'm still flight simming right now. I'm not saying that if she said, like, you know, if I didn't have a sim rig like this, that I wouldn't be flight simming. But in one sense, the trajectory that I was following, I was using Flight Simulator on my tablet, so it wasn't as powerful as I'd liked it to be. So one day she said, come on, let's go get a computer. So I went, I custom built a computer for the first time in literally, I want to say over 20 years. And then about 2 years after that, my computer was not the fastest, but it was definitely long in the tooth. So she said, all right, let's go. Let's get the second version. So she took me down to the computer store again. We shopped around, and we got the second version of it. And so we had two computers for a little while until I sold my first computer at a steep discount to a kid that was going to college. So I basically said, hey, here you go. And yeah, Mrs. Digi's the reason why my flight simming has literally stuck around as long as it has. She's awesome. and we're going to celebrate. We're celebrating 25 years married this year. Her philosophy is simple. Marriage isn't difficult. It's life all around her that makes it difficult. She right now is dealing with some chronic pain and mobility issues. So when I'm not working, I'm, like doing my best to look after the house, the pets, help her, be her transportation, and get from place to place and figure out what to do. But we do it together. We do it together. Well, let's see. Looks like Salt Lake Approach just shut off. Which is fine. I wasn't going there anyway. Although I do wish I was going faster, but that 72 knot headwind is just making it rough. I'm gonna be burning through a good chunk of the fuel that I took on board. We had about 1,947 plus pounds for the flight. Briefing preview shows trip fuel is actually only 889 pounds, but I've got 15 minutes contingency, alternate fuel if I want to fly to Las Vegas, and I've got final reserve fuel, which is another 300 plus pounds. Excuse me, chap, BRB. Hello, chat. I have returned. There was a phone call my wife received, which she gladly took, and I'm happy for her. So, just catching up with family. And we are probably somewhere between 60 to 65 nautical miles from Top Drop. So we should see Top Drop come in on the Magenta line shortly. I do not see anybody in front of me, even though theoretically I should. There was a Delta flight leaving Salt Lake going to San Diego. They're about 14,500 feet on the way up. And my friend in Frontier Flight 527 is going to be descending very shortly, if they're not already doing so now. But we are, yeah, we're altitude reporting, so we definitely have a squawk. We should be seeing people. We should be good. But again, folks from the Cleared for Chaos stream that came in on the raid, thank you for coming in. We are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and we are flying from Jackson, Wyoming to Cedar City, Utah. Just started descending, nice. So I'm not that far behind. I'm probably going to be another 15 minutes or so before the descent. But again, we're going pretty much straight in to runway 20. And my ILS frequencies, I think, are going to be tuned. Are tuned, excuse me, or should be tuned. So we'll figure it out. I'll worry about setting up my heading in ILS once we actually get close to the airport. But yeah, figure another 60 so nautical miles and we'll be descending. We've got loads of clouds. Loads of clouds. Not as bad now, but ahead it is. Actually, I'm grateful. I'm really pleased with how much compatibility I see with the old Coxper Phenom 100 and FS 2024. There were, I think, a few sessions I flew the plane where not everything wanted to work, but that's either my memory playing tricks on me or a skill issue, because so far the functions that I've used seem to be working fine. This isn't the fastest Embraer Phenom, but this one is near and dear to me. There's a Phenom 100 and the Phenom 300. They're different versions of the same family, and the 300 carries more people, I think, has bigger wings, and maybe probably a bigger range. Most likely a bigger range. The 100 is what I'm flying right now. It takes 4 passengers and either a first officer or a crew member, but this plane is actually rated for single pilot operation. I'm a big fan of the setup, and I've flown this thing for many years on VATSIM, like exclusively, and I've gotten accustomed to the layout and whatnot, so I'm happy with it. There is my top drop. So when we descend, I'm going to descend at 210 knots, then 230 knots, then probably 250 knots, unless we're close to the approach for runway 20 at Cedar City. Oh, absolutely. It's going to get loud, fair warning, but let me show you the plane. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of this plane. And again, this is the kid brother to the Phenom 300. So if you like faster, then the 300 is probably up your alley. Larger wingspan and more passenger capacity and probably much greater range. But the Phenom 100 is basically near and dear to me. The plane I think costs about 5 or 6 million right now. Bigger, mid-sized. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's where most people usually go, especially because the I think it's just, the just the range and the power and the fact that you can actually, go further or do better. This is a great plane for really small distances, like around an hour or less. Unless you want to use it to its fullest potential, you can go a couple of hours like we are now. And this is a great plane for smaller airstrips, for municipal airports, regional airports. So you're gonna get your money's worth if that's the kind of life that you're doing. Like if I was like, CEO for a small but somewhat successful company, and I didn't want to get a pilot's license and I wanted a personal touch, this is probably an airplane that I'd ride around in on a regular basis. Although honestly, if I was going to be about that biz jet life, I'd probably be riding around in a bigger plane, like either a Global or a Gulfstream, or I don't know, at least like a Citation of some kind, or like a Lineage or a Boeing business jet or something. But it's okay. I'm happy to get my kicks in this airplane right now. We are about 25 nautical miles from top of drop. something to solve FA50. something 3 engines. Something, classic elegance. Oh man. I'll tell you a story. I used to fly X-Plane 11 so much, and I got used to. I spent a little bit of time back in like 2019 flying the Falcon 7, and that's a 3-engine plane, a 3-engine business jet, and it's just magnificent in terms of design and range. I remember, I think I tried doing a flight from Miami to Minneapolis. I don't remember if I actually succeeded, but I got pretty far. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think somebody was actually working on making a pay-aware version of that aircraft. But Falcon 50 is basically the classic version of that modern plane, because there's a 7X and there's an 8X. Got a bit of a bump in the weather just now. Is what it is. Thanks again to everybody that stuck around today, especially those that came in from the Cleared for Chaos raid. Appreciate having all of you aboard. Never feel compelled or forced. Like, I never want to say, hey, say hi, I'll say hi back. No, you simply being here, even if you're doing nothing but lurking, you're bringing awareness to the channel, so thank you. I do like chatting with folks, of course, as you can see, and your financial support is never required. It's always appreciated. So if you can't, and the only thing you can do is just keep lurking, that's fine. Again, I'm happy with that. Now we're about 12-ish miles from top drop. Let's keep our eyes peeled or on this. Light at each continent. My world tour stalled in Brazil. I need to grab the A321 or the 737 MAX 8 and fly to Buenos Aires, and then go to Chile, and then go back up the spine of South America. And there's some kind of exchange that I want to do. Either go to the Caribbean or go up Central America, go eastbound through southern US up to New England, and then go west across Canada back to Vancouver, where it all started. I am curious about that. I don't know whether I'll do that anytime soon, though. Could do cargo hops. You could. I am going to enjoy arriving in Cedar City and then shutting down for the evening. Tomorrow, I'm potentially going to be cracking open a box that I literally haven't opened in about 3 years in terms of, open and like unpacked everything, because I have a item which I could use to basically assemble electronics. It's a soldering iron, but I haven't used it. So, I don't know. It's time for me to learn. And now it's also time for me to begin my descent. So, we're going to do flight level change, and we're going to tune for 210 knots. Excuse me, 200 knots right now. And we'll do 205 knots and keep dipping the nose. We are on our way down, ladies and gentlemen. Zippy flight, that's for sure. So tune for 210 knots, and we'll keep adjusting the descent rate. The new retro livery, man. Okay, we're basically full idle right now. Do I need to descend at 3,500 feet per minute? Well, I don't know. Let me take a look at the altitudes. I do not want to be below 14,400 feet. So I'm going to have to pay attention just to make sure that I am not about to find cumulus granitus on my way into Cedar City. That would be poor form. Just saying. How many aircraft do I have in my vicinity? Just one. They're flying to San Diego, so they're not going to be in my sight line. Actually, they're not going to be in front of me at all. So that's them, but again, I'm going to be descending below them shortly. Let's increase the descent rate to 230 knots and give it some juice. And keep going down to 240. On the ILS, let's go. Well done, sir. Okay, so 11,000, what does that mean? I think what that means is that's going to be a restriction on our approach. A high fidelity 787? Nani? Oh ho ho. Man, that might have been my flight sim news of the evening. That gets my attention. A220 what? No, I think I still would like to fly the Build's A220. It's just not going to be anytime soon because things, you know. 11,000 in Climo. Okay. So I do not think I'm going to have a problem getting to that speed, but we're descending pretty quickly, so let me see. 339er, let's go ahead and adjust descent rate because I do not want to descend at 3,500 feet per minute anymore. And I think 1,800 is probably way more respectable. In fact, we're going to punch it all the way up to 270 before we get to 10,000 feet. I'm fortunate I actually see much of the topography. I thought for a moment we were going to be going in, you know, into purely overcast stuff, but fortunately that's different. Okay, we're still on advisory frequency. Once I get below 10,000 feet, I will adjust my frequency to the CTAF for the arriving airport. So, 1,800. There we go. So about 50 nautical miles from Climo. And let's adjust the descent rate to about 1,500 feet per minute. The altimeter for Cedar City Regional is going to be 3026. So, we're not that far away from transition altitude, but I'm going to go ahead and set my baro now. I said 3026. There we go, 3026, check. Okay, there is a Lufthansa A380, which I might see in transit, but I'm not going to have an issue with because they're going to be way above me. And the beautiful thing is that I can actually see the ground way better now, so I don't think I'm going to have a problem getting set up with the approach. Welcome down, Crafton. I am coming into Climo. I've got about 40 nautical miles, and I'm descending at about 270 knots, so I've got some pepper. Okay, local pressure is now authority. Let's take a peek at the topography. I'm going outside. So let's adjust the altimeter, the altitude to be at 11,000 feet. A bit bumpy, just a little bit. An hour and 5 minutes airtime. Yeah, it's not bad. Scratching. Alright, let's not slow down too much. I cut my throttles. Alright, still have over 1,000 pounds of fuel. That's good. That's not bad. Great night for a flight, huh, Chad? Or in my case, great morning. Winds are shifting. A little bit. Let me get my landing lights on before I forget. You're 99% sure you're too big for the airport. Well, no. You landed in an A319, so technically it's possible you could be there. I'm assuming the clientele's more like, you know, CRJs, Embraers, that kind of thing. So let's see. Clemo again. $11,000. Yep. All right, let's grab the CTAF for Cedar City. Oh, no CTAF? Got it. So that means I'm advisory frequency all the way down. Crafted like, yeah. 123.0 then. Oh, you know what? I have charts too. So Cedar City CTAF. On the chart it says 123.0. Thank you.
Cedar City traffic, synaptic 329, rolling 20 right-hand circuit.
Oh dear God.
Cedar City traffic, Embraer, Phenom, November 6532 Zulu, 11,000, direct Clemo for the ILS runway 20 approach. Wow, the landscape is pretty. Okay, so there is a hold point if I go missed, which hopefully won't happen. Let's keep current heading at 185. So we'll go heading bug mode, and I will check my CDI. Localizer needs to be 110.1. Okay, good. Yeah, well, you know, it's a thing. I do see ye olde traffic.
Synaptic 329, mid right downwind 20, touch and go.
Alright, let's take a look at the map. Give me the plate, please. We're going to be going for 7,800 feet, pretty much once we clear this pass. Alright, I'm scanning for the traffic. I don't see anybody just yet.
CRC traffic synaptic 329, flat base and final 20, touch and go.
Oh, let's start slowing down. Give me nav. Nav localizer. Hit the approach button. Localizer armed. Looking at home cockpit's nice. I want to be at 7800 by Seho. Localizer is active. Glide slope is now alive. Good stuff. Okay, we're just below glide. Can I see anybody? I wish I could. Alright, give me flaps 1. This should definitely
Synaptic
balloon me.
329, short final 20, touch and go.
And because landing gear is important, let's go gear down. Crafton, thanks so much for being a part of tonight's stream. Appreciate you being on. Thank you so much for flying the trip with us. Love your soul, buddy. Rest well. God bless you and your family. Have a great night and take care. Okay, we're like 140 knots. We're like slow, super slow. Flaps 2, I think, is what we need. So flaps 2 it is. So like 135 to 140 is basically my sweet spot. Cedar City traffic, Phenom 32 Zulu, fully established ILS runway 20. Really grateful I did not bork up traffic approach.
Cedar City traffic synaptic 329 is right downwind 20, full stop.
Alright, and when we get down on the ground, where are we going? We're going to... We could go to the terminal, or we could park just next to the terminal.
Synaptic 329, we have the Phenom traffic, short final in sight, we'll fall behind.
Okay, let's see. I'm assuming we're reffing around 10 knots plus and sinking 7 or 8. Wind is coming in from the north, well, excuse me, from the southeast at 5. what is the touchdown altitude? It is currently 5622.
Houston traffic, Synaptic 329, turning 2 mile base, number 220 will stop.
And if we can pull off by Alpha 2, we should be fine. Alright, yaw damper and autopilot are off. My aircraft. Yeah, windy. Here we go. Oof, ballooned up a bit. Just let it chill. Alright, we are down.
Synaptic 329, final 20, full stop, Cedar City.
The brakes are the brakes are the brakes. And we are Cedar City traffic, Phenom 32 Zulu cleared, runway 20 at Alpha 2 taxi terminal. Okay. So my flight time wound up being 1 hour and 22 minutes. Strobe light can come off. We'll do the sensible thing and taxi to the hangars, so that my friend can get the ramp parking. Oh, there we go, just touched down. Nice. The awesome thing was hearing the whine from the A220 engines. Like, pretty much at that point I was like, wait, he's touching down. And there we go. Close enough for me. Parking brakes are on. Let's go ahead and shut everything off. At least the engines. So, depressurize.
Synaptic 329, vacated 20, taxiing to the ramp, Cedar City.
Alright, get the chocks and the GPU set up. GPU is available. We can shut the fuel pumps off, turn the passenger signs off, and window heats down, ignition switches off. There we go. Flight director off. And that is it. All right. Let's take a peek. Oh, we've got some company.
Traffic, Synaptic 329 is parking off of Alpha, ramp 2 in the somewhat, maybe kind of reformed study level driver apron.
That's superb. Really appreciate the support and my friends flying along with me tonight. Wasn't expecting any of that. It is so nice to have the company. Um, yeah, welcome to Cedar City. Freeware scenery available through flightsim.to. We are at Z-Ramp. Let's go ahead and take ye olde screenshot. It's fantastic. Wonderful. Man. 2 hours for a late night session on the sim. And I gotta say, I'm really pleased with the performance and the reliability for the Coxper Phenom 100. And I forget how much this thing costs now, but when I picked it up, I think it was like 30 bucks. It's a bargain. Recent hotfix helped a lot. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm very happy to hear that. We are at Cedar City. We flew for basically the better part of an hour and like an hour and like 40 minutes block to block. We have arrived, and this is scenery available through flightsim.to. Nothing particularly magnificent, but you want to know what? I take that back. This is scenery I didn't have to build, so it is magnificent because it's free. Yes, I retract my previous statement. Definitely appreciate having free scenery available through flightsim.to, and very much happy to have airport representation wherever we fly, because the alternative is basically having procedurally generated scenery, and honestly, it's a thing. It gives us opportunity to create scenery for airports that we visit. So I'm happy that we got to do this. Then we turn my nav lights off, taxi lights off, and then that's it. That is everything, and we are super parked up. So one more screenshot for the books, and then we're going to go ahead and put on our covers and stuff and mark this plane ready to walk away from for a little bit. Covers and control lock, and that ought to do it. I can turn the GPU off at this point, and I think it's going to automatically disconnect me from VATSIM, but we'll see. No, I'm still connected. I just can't transmit, I don't think. Yep. All right. So definitely, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in tonight, for hanging out. Had a great time flying on VATSIM quietly, and had a nice flight from Jackson to Cedar City. The landscape is decidedly less mountainous, but at the same time there are still plenty of mountains in the area, just smaller ones. And we are going to bid you guys a great night. I'm probably going to say this with fairly good certainty. I do not plan on being on stream. Definitely not tomorrow, and possibly not Sunday either. I'm going to probably be doing scenery dev next week if I get the setup to do it, and definitely will try to make my progress and such, but is what it is for a night like this, hanging out with friends and family. Appreciate all of you being aboard. I will probably catch some of you on upcoming streams in the not too distant future, and like I always like to say at the end of every stream, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that is Jesus Christ. Folks, have a good night, take it easy, take care, and I don't know, I mean, literally the only other place to go from here is basically either Sedona or like, I don't know, Santa Fe, El Paso, somewhere, Flagstaff, maybe Page, but, or Grand Canyon National Airport. Stay tuned. Watch my Discord for updates and life updates and stuff like that. And if you aren't a member of my Discord and you'd like to be, let me give you an invite. We talk about life. We talk about my personal relationship with God through Christ. We talk about simming, gaming, doing scenery dev things. Nathan, it was a pleasure having you aboard. Folks, there's the link to the Discord if you want to join. When you join, you want to go to the rules channel and thumbs up the rules so that I can give you the posting privilege. And that's it. Appreciate having all of you aboard. I don't even know if anybody's on right now. Let me check real fast because it is possible somebody might be. I don't know. But I can always share the love with anybody that's actually on, unless I have no idea who's on right now. Let me see. I can check. My friend Charlie Fox is actually streaming right now. Let me see if he's on his way to wrapping up. I'm probably going to say he's wrapping up because I think he's on the ground right now. Who else is doing anything? Oh, you know who? There is at least one person I can think of, possibly sending you guys, if you want some chill tunes, we could do, you know what? There's one more person I could say hi to. Yeah, if you guys want more Flight Sim content, let's go ahead and say hi to somebody that I've talked to in the past. So I'm setting up the raid right now. This is going to be a bit of a raid and run for me, but if you're looking for some more Flight Sim content and you want to stay up a little bit later, we're going to go say hi to Scott Fars. So, take care, friends. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and until next time, I will see ya. Bye.